All right, folks, welcome back for another episode. I wanted to welcome my next guests. They are Cali, DJs and producers who just dropped their Cymandre 3000 project on June 2. I'll let the two talk about the concept of the DJ mixtape, but it is 15 tracks of outstanding mashups. So I wanted to welcome back Brycon to the show and welcome Maitre D. What's good, fellas? How y'all doing?
What's good, bro?
Hey, what's up, man? Morning.
Hey man, I had Brycon back on the show a few months ago. We talked about his project with the architect, Maitre D. This is your first time. Hey, before we go into the project, can you just give me a short intro? Tell me where you were born, where you grew up, and where exactly in Cali you call home these days.
You want to go first or?
Yeah, I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. This marks 20 years in California, right here, Ocean Beach, San Francisco, right now, and predominantly San Francisco over these last 20 years, but a little bit of time all over the North Bay. So
All right. Maitre D,
And
what about you, brother?
I was born in San Rafael, California, and grew up bouncing between Berkeley and Marin County, and still kind of repping both. I spent a lot of time on the Richmond Bridge,
Okay.
um, but yeah, been California Bay Area kid all my whole life.
Okay. Awesome, man. Well, hey, without mentioning Outcasts, who were, for both of you, top two hip hop or rap influences that assisted in developing who you are today?
Mm.
I'm a Rakim guy first and foremost.
Yeah.
And as much as I love Ghostface Killer today, I'm thinking more about Guru and Gangstar because
Okay. I like that.
who I don't know. I'm not supposed to be comparing Guru and Ghostface. I know, but something
both,
about
both rap gods, though, man, for
something
sure.
about the focus of Guru's body of work is really interesting.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I love it. On some primo beats. Absolutely. And Rakim, just a lyrical monster. Yeah, man. Not, yeah. I completely understand. Maitre D, what about you?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say Gangstar as well. I mean, DJ
Yeah.
was probably my longest running influence as a producer and DJ. Um, and but gosh, the there's a few others, in the early era. I mean, I know you said two, but
Yeah.
I got to give another one and an honorable mention. What my first rap tape was I got on my 13th birthday, uh, the same day that I went to my first rap show, and the tape was Warren G and Nate Dogg Regulate
Ooh, yeah. That
uh,
was the cassette single.
cassette single
That's right.
off of the Above the Rim soundtrack.
Which is probably one of the best movie soundtracks ever, still to this day. I think.
Day, but I have to say, that same day I went and saw the my mom took me and my friends to the Salt and Pepper uh uh very necessary tour.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
of them, but the name that I want to say was the opening DJ, who was the one and only DJ Kid Capri.
Oh man.
And Kid Capri, uh,
Yeah.
that was the first time I ever saw a DJ live, and the fact Kid Capri is, DJ, producer, rapper, like just triple threat.
Yeah.
Um, and big shout out to Kid Capri.
Yeah.
Actually got connected with him a couple years ago because I won this challenge he put up when he was promoting his last album, um,
Nice.
and won my current DJ mixer from him, and I got to chop it up with him a little bit.
Very cool.
You know,
that's super cool.
that he's not a group, but like he's a big like inspiration. So
He's a
Awesome.
universe unto himself.
And so let me open it up again now to just producers. Brycon, do you have a favorite producer? Maybe I know you mentioned Gangstar and
No,
maybe
dead up. I never heard Mike say that before, but Premier's, been my favorite producer by,
yeah, oh okay.
the whole time. There's definitely like a lot of other influence. And I wouldn't say now he's as influential on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, so many beats I made, and even still elements of beats I'm making now are like directly, drum patterns and ways to chop. So yeah, no, and the scratch choruses. So Premier definitely my favorite. I mean, there's like dozens and dozens of producers I can name, but that's my core right there. So, and as a vinyl consumer, I bought everything with his name on it. So I got
nice.
What is it? The Linkin Park remix. I got all that. I got the bootleg shit.
Oh, you got that Limp Bizkit.
That's what Limp Bizkit. I do. I've got the Limp Bizkit remix. Wink, wink. I'm sorry, and apologies for mixing up Linkin Park with Limp Bizkit, but you can tell where my heart is at.
Oh, I thought there was a Linkin Park premiere.
Yeah. Maybe he did, but okay. Well, there's one thing missing in my collection. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't know which rap rock group I shunned by accident. But yeah, I love Gangstar. And even my earliest the earliest records I absorbed from my parents had Gangstar samples. Like Mingus has the boom 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 boom. That's on I'm the Man or whatever.
Yeah.
So that fucked me up. That messed me up. I was like, these same records? Yeah. And it's not like my dad is a jazz head. My dad had modern jazz quartet and then one record by everybody. You could tell he bought the Mingus record, and it's like, who buys one Mingus record and doesn't get a second one? Well, he wasn't that into it. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Well, hey, let me ask you guys about Bay Area rap. You guys are in California, been there for quite a long time. Now, I'm a big fan of just Cali, Bay Area rap. You guys have any favorites?
I mean, 40 Water,
Yeah, yeah.
E40. I mean, for me, even though being a Bay Area dude, being a Bay Area kid, growing up in the 90s, all that, I was really getting into East Coast hip hop.
Okay.
But E40 was one of the ones who was definitely in that Bay Area sound, but he was just so different. He was just so one of one, and is one of one. And so that it was, for me, it was kind of an exception because I just love to my home base, but I just
gravitated towards East Coast rap.
Very, it's this is a trip to me to hear, because I grew up in North Carolina.
Yeah,
and the Bay Area rap that I was exposed to is strictly the stuff that's had a label behind it, right?
Too short.
And but beyond the trippy thing, I was just thinking about is back then, you're not going okay, well, these ones are made with keyboards and basses and drum machines, and these ones are made with samples. And you're not going, well, Souls of Mischief kind of has an East Coast sound.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm listening to Digital Underground and The Coup and Too Short and E40. I got an E40 record in Hackensack, New Jersey, right? So I was always on West Coast stuff. But I didn't really get differentiating between, and I think as a adult, I would more say that things like Souls of Mischief aren't East Coast. They're just it's a West Coast traditional sound, because look at the jazz fusion artists they're sampling versus the ones that East Coast acts are. Sure. But as far as Bay Area rappers, I love Hyro, and I was crazy for Dell and Casual and Souls, and still seeing Souls of Mischief, who I've probably seen more than any other band, is still incredible. Shout out DJ Lazy Boy, all those dudes too. But yeah, Shock G, Gift of Gab.
Man.
I wanted to throw in the whole Quantum.
Quantum Projects.
Quantum Project. I mean, yeah, but Delicious, obviously, but also
Latif. Yeah,
Latif.
Lyrics Born. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And I want to say Saphir, of
Ooh.
course, is incredible.
Yeah.
And then, but then you find out later, right? Like I said, like I knew the acts on the label, but you find out later, there's crazy amount of MCs, producers, and then obviously some
Yeah.
like incredible legacy groups that didn't necessarily have like national acclaim, like Boris Stiff, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Something like that. So,
Yeah.
a lot of like in an exceptionally talented and influential region that it just really had a interesting and sort of different relationship with
Yeah.
the record industry, because it's not as if it was completely passed over, but
Yeah.
like when we talk about all those groups that were on labels, it's Jive in the East Bay.
Yeah, sure.
Where's the San Francisco group, right? Like you have Rapid
El
Forte.
Posse.
Oh, Rapping Forte. Yeah, that's right.
But I'm
Yeah.
just saying it's really interesting how like the industry leaned so Oakland.
Hey, well, Maitre D, how did you pick your producer DJ name? Can you talk to me about the origin? Was that the first name, or is that something that came over the
Not
years?
my original. My very first producer DJ name. I'm not gonna say because it actually. I found out later on that there was actually a group of producers. I think maybe a duo that had the same name. So
Okay.
it, and then I had a short-lived name that I will tell you, which was Skillet McGillicuddy.
Yeah. One of many people I known who wore the McGillicuddy. That's like an interim name for hip hop people. Like
So, like,
you'll be a McGillicuddy till you get your real name.
right.
Hey, that's good, man. That's funny.
Just some weird shit that I came up with, probably stoned off my ass, and it was just fun to say. And then once I saw it on some flyers, I was like, "Oh no, this is terrible. I gotta."
Running off the edge of the flyer, but you kept it. You kept the restaurant theme. You moved from the kitchen to the front of house.
Yeah. So basically, I worked in the restaurant and bar industry for a really long time. I'm no longer
Okay.
full time music for over a decade now, actually, luckily. But when I was coming up with my name for a minute after Skillet McGillicuddy, I was just going by Mike C. And then, in the tradition of Del the Funky Homo Sapien, Dan the Automator, etc., I became Mike C. Um,
Mm,
Concept behind the Maitre D is, I mean, the Maitre D is like not something a lot of people think about in restaurants these days, except for like super high end restaurants where basically the Maitre D is kind of like the manager of the restaurant, but they're also like the person that greets you at the
yeah,
door. They know everything you like. They bring you what you want, and they show you love, and really just set the vibe. So when I came up with the name, I was like, oh yeah, this is dope. Like,
yeah. I like it.
so inevitably, just it got slimmed down to Maitre D.
I like it, man. Yeah, yeah. Hey, that's awesome, man. And so, Brycon, tell me how the both of you met.
So Luke Sick and I have a group called Grand Killicon, which you may be familiar with, and we put out a record in 2015. Absolutely no one knows at this point. So we that album is called Year of the Tray Bag, and then we did a remix album called Nick Sack for New Year's. Got the raise, the $2 raise, and in reaching out to our mutual friend DJ Bissett, um, Mike got brought into the fray on a remix track for that album, right? Bissett and Maitre D did this incredible reggae remix of a song I believe called Kangle. Classic Luke Sick going off, and with the like, the like the weird like gangster singing on the hook, great tune, if you want to go look it up. So starting with that collaboration, we started basically, exchanging pieces of music, sort of appearing on each other's projects, starting with the first Watershed project, right? Mike did a track with Equipto rapping on it called Hella San Francisco.
Okay.
Back in the era of the Giants winning, every other year, better times. So
2014. So
oh yeah, thank you. So maybe the Luke 6 thing is 2013.
Probably 2013.
Thank you. It makes sense because you're the tray bag, right? I was thinking that, but I was like, too logical. So anyway, so Watershed record, and then I had a Halloween beat tape compilation that Mike appeared on called "There's No More Room in Hell," and then Mike did an album called Rain, and then did a remix album, and I contributed a track for that. All the while, gigs and hanging out and doing this and that. So I don't think we really had a formal collaboration on the books, but we had been working together on a bunch of stuff. And Maitre D being so deep in the remix and edit game, this idea, when it came to me, I like basically instantly thought, like this is the person to help make it happen. Right.
Yeah.
So Cymandre 3000 was sort of the impetus to like, all right, let's formalize the collaboration. And then,
Nice.
We've been doing this live and obviously getting the project out in the world at the same time, preparing to release like another dubby project that Maitre D worked on. It's a solo project of mine, but it's got Maitre D on a number of tracks and a feature by Michael Rose. And then we're also, we've been working on an EP that's more along the lines of like a traditional producer compilation that's got different artists on every track. So working on a bunch of stuff at once, and exchanging ideas, and just having someone to bounce ideas off. So
Good,
been a really fruitful collaboration. Happy to be a part of it, grateful for it, and so excited too for what's next.
Yeah, the concept is quite interesting. It's a mashup, as you mentioned, Cymandre, a British funk band formed in London in the 70s, right? Mostly Caribbean-born musicians, self-titled album in 72. And then the other half is the one and only André 3000 of the amazing group Outkast. And so thank you for the origin. Maitre D, was it hard to find all the André 3000 acapellas, or is that pretty normal nowadays? They're putting out acapellas for people to remix?
Well, I'm glad you asked. It is actually really quite challenging. We did find a number of acapellas along the way.
Okay.
A great deal of what we had to do was utilizing the new barrage of STEM creating softwares.
Okay. I heard Serato does that a little bit. Is that something like that separates them?
So Serato has it built into their DJ software.
Okay.
So when we were kind of coming up with ideas, we would use in like a lot of these initial demos and ideas came from just a DJ style blend.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Sorry? What'd you say?
Oh, exactly. I couldn't believe. Yeah, like how you found. I assume the acapellas were cleanly separated. They sound great.
Yeah. So the Serato version isn't quite as clean as the software that I use, which is called Stemverter 2.
Okay.
Verter 2. It's a little. I think it's like a one-person developer group that made it, who's also a DJ name. But it was recommended to me by a DJ Trays, who's a big name in blends and remixes and stuff like that. And he said that he thought it had, at the time, had the best sound. Now, I mean, there's a lot of names in the game now for stems, and I'm about to explore one of the newer ones that allows for like more division. But basically, the software that I had would split it into 4 pieces. It would split it into the drums, the bass, the vocals, and then everything else.
I'm amazed that there's software that can do that.
It's really nuts. But when you see that people were doing it, individuals like K-Def are using EQ and compression and sort of like. But before we had AI to do it, seeing humans create the technology base that it's using, it is really incredible.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, yeah, hey, that's awesome, man. And so and then Cymande, one of probably the most heavily sampled funk group of the 70s. And so when you guys talk to me just about the process on how you guys picked out the Cymandre tracks, which ones you were going to use for the album. Was it a session both you guys sat down on and said yes, yes, no, yes? Or how did you guys pick what you were going to use?
Well, I think we worked on it for about actually 2 years. And yeah, we
Yeah.
did it in the same room. Um, and basically try stuff out. And the first one that we did was Chonky Fire versus.
That's my fucking favorite track, bro.
I mean, that's not a
Best
mistake,
track.
because if that didn't come out so good,
Yeah.
who knows where we'd be at with the project.
That shit was
It
fire.
we were just like, oh my god, this is gonna be a whole project.
Fucking chunky fire, bro. It was good.
So we basically, we live a bit of a ways apart. So we, I would come out to San Francisco,
Yeah.
Brycon studio, and we just kind of vibe out. And you know, most of excuse me, most of what we came up with made it to the record. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
couple on the cutting room floor. Maybe they'll make their appearance in a deluxe version later down the road or something like that. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But end of the day, like, we were able to come up with these 15,
Yeah.
uh, you know, like not everything is melodic, but everything that's melodic is like working in synchronicity with the instrumental. So it was really dope to be able to see these things come alive. And some of them took a little bit more massaging than others. A number of songs are still in the original keys, but
Yeah.
like a trained ear will probably catch which songs are different, are transposed from, at least like the instrumental vocals are a little different. But we really did try to keep it true to the artistry.
Good. Yeah. They sound great. In Brycon, did you take one song at a time? Was it like, okay, I Brycon have tracks 1, 4, 5, and 6, and then Maitre D's got tracks 2, 3, 7, and on? Or did you both have a piece on each song?
No, yeah, we every single song got developed with both of us in person. I think there are definitely a lot of moments where like we brought some ideas that we had separately, but for the most part, it was like song by song. We had, not to say an itinerary, but as we put songs together, we had like a list of André tunes and a list of Cymande tunes. So, once we got something to a good, one song in good working order, we were either going, just sort of like reaching out into the ether for a next idea or referring back to our list. But yeah, we did it all in person, and I think like getting to like the rapid clip evolution of these songs in the studio is kind of there's a cool spontaneity to it, and then of course like we're performing these same things live, so even though there's a fixed in time version on the tape and the digital, people get to hear it performed, and live effects and drops and things happening a little different. Plus we've added some elements for the live performance that wouldn't be on a recorded version too. So
that's
it's
right.
definitely like
the singing. I saw the singing of elevators.
Yes, well, we can't help that people want to highlight our
I loved it, man. It's fun.
singing.
It made it look fun.
Hey, well, we get to be Andre's backup singers, which I'm sure is a fun job for anybody who gets it. So
no, it was fun. And like Outkast have songs that you sing along. I know you didn't really like that clip much, but I thought it was fun, and it conveyed your personalities, fun loving guys just making dope music and wanting to have a good time at the event. And so yeah, like I mentioned, Chunky Fire is my favorite track. Wheels of Steel was my probably second favorite track that you guys put together. I want just to ask you guys, Maitre D, this one's for you. who made the decision to give Big Boy that little feature at the end? I'll tell you that Big Boy was. I'm partial to Big Boy. He's my favorite from the two, but I love them both. So, yeah, was that a conscious decision?
So basically, there was a point in the project where like, okay, this is Cymandre 3000 like
Yeah, I understand. Yeah,
songs, but like maybe we need to just cut Big Boy out of the project to make the pun work. I mean,
that's right. Yeah.
to Big Boy, like it was no shade at all. It was
Oh, I
just
know.
conceptual, and in that conceptual way is how the Big Boy made it back onto the record.
That's
So things about it. So one of it is so this is a kind of a chicken or the egg type situation where I
right.
can't remember how it came about, but there's some very conceptual things about that song, which are one, the line that we use from Cymande says together before we go.
Mm.
So one, it's the last song on the album. Two, it's bringing them back together. And then three, it's the first song off their first album that we used.
Yeah, Southern playlistic.
Yeah, so it was like kind of like, well, if there was gonna be a song that had Big Boy on it, this is the one.
Yeah. Hey, I love it. I just and it's all love. I know you had to make the album title work, and it worked perfectly. I just wanted to bring it up, and yeah, I'm a Big Boy fan. So awesome. Okay, so now I want to talk about the impact of Outkast on both your careers as musicians. Brycon, for you, what was the first Outkast song that you heard, and just kind of like, what did they play any impact in the music that you make today?
Man, it had to be Southern playlistic, right? Because
Yeah,
I have memories of the video, but I know like off the first record, and then the Goody Mob record, it was like I was crazy about Call of the Wild and Hootie Who, and then
oh
Dirty
yeah,
South.
Hootie Hoo.
I mean, the crazy thing about Outkast is the way you get Outkast as a feature on your song, and then you have a split Big Boy Andre verse. Like no, the the crazy energy that they bring in a 16, right? Like that's some wild shit. But Goody Mob has so much energy and personalities. So you get, what was I just listening to? In Due Time off the Soul Food soundtrack, right? Which is like another thing where you're like, oh, should we incorporate this in the project? And I listened to the Big Boy verse and then the Andre verse, and I was like, Big Boy got him. Big Boy got him on this one. And I was thinking, I was like, because Andre does some really interesting stuff, like rhythmically and some weird patterns. But Big Boy just cuts through the center of this sweet song. It's a sweet song. And the Big Boy verse is just like, just brolic as fuck. So anyway, I realize that's not a great answer to your question, but
Oh, it's good.
I was in North Carolina during like the dawn of Outkast. And another thing where like, a regional sound exists, but it's sort of hard to pin down. Like you could look like you could look at rap a lot and sort of see a relationship between like what they're doing and what organized noise does with live instrumentation and like funk, the presence of guitar and bass, but like it's not slowed down Texas funk. So there's certain like, Dungeon Family beats and songs that were probably closer to what I wanted to make, like Goody Bag, things like that are obviously a little more sample driven, but definitely like drum programming and effects and song structure. I listened so tough to all that organized noise shit. And like, I don't like saying dude's name, but the one dude from Goody Mob who does all the singing and rapping, that's an artist that was extremely influential on me despite his later missteps in the public eye. I love that sort of like gospel soul meeting point with hip hop, and there's not a lot of groups or collectives that do it like that. Because you could just like, okay, if I was just like, oh, Outkast is a gospel rap group. If I just like said that, you know, some like people will be like, well, it's not very Christian, you know, but there it's absolutely churchy. It's absolutely all churched out. And like, you know, I'm not into the church either. But it has a lot of likable aesthetics, you know. And you know, the things in like hip hop production, like a big bells and you know, like sort of angelic choir like voices, like you know, things you find on like They Reminisce, but also on an Outkast song or a Witch Doctor song, right? Definitely, you know, you listen to something and you may not be like, well, I'm gonna go do that, but it sort of informs you. Here's something you can try a version of.
Yeah.
Where so like, let's fly in a vocal that only happens for 2 bars at 3 minutes of a song.
Yeah. No, that's a great
So
point.
I said, yeah, huge influence, but it's this massive collective where it's like
Everything.
the tip of the spear. But
yeah,
you keep going deeper into Dungeon Family and you're like, what, TLC Creep? That could have been it. Go picture, you know, Big Boy and André. You know what I mean? It's a really big world, and like, so I there wasn't as much like there wasn't a lot of Southern rap groups or collectives like that I got.
Very original. And Maitre D, what about you, man? First Outkast song that you heard, and just kind of the impact on the way that you make music or the way that you look at it.
Well, so in my early time with my exposure to hip hop, in the early 90s and like the late 80s and all that, it was all coming from MTV and media for me. And you know, at that point, I wasn't living in the East Bay, so I wasn't in the diverse environment that would have exposed me to a lot more music in the hip hop and R&B realm. And um, but so what when I saw the AT
Yeah. Woo.
I was like,
Yeah.
this is weird. Like I like this. Like what? Like
Different. Yeah.
out there, like what, like he was at that time he was rocking the turban, and it was just like a weird, like it just stood out, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It was a groove, and you know, I just really I dug it. I dug it. And it wasn't until much later that I was able to dig into more of their music, you know. By that time I'd heard more, like they'd probably released more. um and you know, my, my first ownership of having possessed the music, the albums themselves, I mean, it was in the burn CD era.
Yeah.
So I didn't, like, sadly I didn't like directly support them initially, but you know, ended up buying records from them later on. But like
Yeah.
AT that caught me, and then I kind of walked back. You know, I went
That's right.
playlistic, you know, and I have all their albums, you know. I really enjoyed it. And you know, I also, yeah, being from the West Coast, I mean, there is like a Bay Area um and the South kind of connection a little bit, but at that time not really. You know, this is they were the first thing to come out of the South, at least as far as I knew, at least on that level of the stage, you know.
Yeah, sure.
There's a lot, you know, stuff coming out of Texas and whatnot. And but like that was the first time I'd heard anything out of Atlanta. And you know, them and Organized Noise, like they just crafted their own sound, you know. And so it stood out. And um it it wasn't until years later that I was like, what, ATLians? That's a weird way to
Yeah.
spell it. I didn't get it like as a
Yeah.
Too far away.
Yeah. We're still young, right? Hey, well, dope. Yeah, just very influential group. And so yeah, ATL is just yeah, it was something dope. I mean, they were still doing the traditional rap, which sounded amazing, over what I thought was unique and just a change to the boom bap beats that were happening at about that time. So yeah, I completely understand. It was freaking amazing. And I think you're probably a little younger than me and Brycon too. I know he mentioned his age earlier, so we were probably born same year. When were you born? 80s? What's that?
81 or so,
Oh yeah, you're not too far from us, man. Yeah, you're real close. So we listen to the music. Just yeah, we grew up to the same music. Exactly. We're just 2 years apart. So super dope, man. Well, hey, let me ask you, Brycon, your favorite song on the album that you just released, which is your favorite mashup?
Yeah, right now, my favorite is Spodio Delicious.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Listening to that and the opener, International Players Anthem.
That is dope. That is dope too.
I like slow ones. I feel like the slow ones are real, like, real mean, real, real like dubby and trippy. I like that. I was talking to someone yesterday and about how like it's a really jazzy project. And even though we've definitely like talked about, oh, hey, André plays the flute. There's a lot of flute on this album because it's Cymande samples. I hadn't really thought of like just
flute connection.
It's jazzy, and it definitely is. It has big solos, and it's definitely got a lot of really cool instrumentation. But yeah, I like Spody. No real rapping on that song, right? That song is basically Sleepy Brown. It's a lot of backup vocalists. André gives his little soliloquy. So I probably one of the least rappy things on the record. He doesn't really exactly rap on Roses, but I think that, it's pretty, pretty cool, pretty different from the rest of the project, but also just like, a song. We're all waiting for that song to happen at the end of the night. So
that's funny. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, definitely, man. Just all those songs were bangers. I was quite impressed. I'll mention something after Maitre D tells me his favorite track on the project. What's yours?
Well, I mean, what Spody was definitely one of my top picks, but just in the thought of saying something different, is like when it comes to the tracks that are melodic, I really those are the ones that I kind of like the best because of that relationship with the instrumental and the vocals, So I think one of my other top favorites would be Hey Ya. Because like I mean, I'm a full-time DJ. I do private events. I do weddings. I DJ a crowd, and Hey Ya is one of those songs that
everybody wants to hear.
And I'm kind of a little sick of. but like to reinvigorate it with a new idea, and also that was one that we had to actually change the arrangement of the vocals a bit to make it work with the instrument.
Because it has this extra beat. So things like, what's the part where he's like, all right, all right, all right. We had to like, oh, how many all rights are we removing to get this back to a 4/4 pattern? It was insane.
And it kind of gets silly how many all rights, because it's already.
Oh yeah, were we adding or subtracting? It is ridiculous. Whatever happened.
So the fact that we had to kind of change the arrangement of the vocals, and like kind of take out spaces that were there and layer it, and it took a little bit more creative work behind it, and in the end I really love what we came up with on it, and it makes it a totally new version of the song, and I just conceptually I really dig that.
It just it's something to the just the original track, their mashups, remixes. That's what they do. And I'll tell you, man, I got into 3 songs into the project. I was like, fuck this. I need the cassette, man. And I picked up the cassette. I put my order in today. So
hey, appreciate it.
Yeah, I gotta get it out soon though, because I don't know how long I'm staying in this hotel. So
you're not getting the same experience with the digital, man. You need that.
Yeah, I need that copy of the tape, man. And it was just a fun listen for me from start to finish. And again, you guys had a Chunky Fire, man, my favorite track. Sad to hear that it's not one of your favorites, but it was certainly mine. And it's dope, man. So I love it, man. Hey, thank you for taking time to speak with me about the project. Can you guys quickly tell folks where to pick up a copy of that tape, and they better hurry up because I think it said 8 copies left. So where can they find it?
So we have it. I host it on my Bandcamp page, which is mikecthemaitred.bandcamp.com. Set and the digital, it's all exclusively on Bandcamp. However, we are having a few shows here and there where we have our release party at the very end last Sunday of this month at C in North Beach in San Francisco, where we will be selling cassettes hand to hand.
Good.
And I think we may be re-upping the cassettes online. Brycon and I have to discuss that. But obviously the digital will continue available, and definitely we appreciate all the support.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome project. I recommend everybody to go and run and listen to that album. Super dope. And cop the tape, man. Support good music. With that, before I turn over to you guys for the final words of the interview, I like fun questions at the end to close it out and just just end it right, man. So I'm gonna start with Brycon real quick. Aside from where you're living now, second favorite Bay Area city for you?
Wow. Oh man, I live in Frisco, but I love Oakland, man. That's an easy one. But hey, there's a lot of dope places tied for third.
Yeah, absolutely. Maitre D, you minus where you're from or where you live. Second favorite Bay Area city.
Wow.
Yeah, I want to know what you're gonna say, bro.
Just because being someone from the East Bay, Oakland is kind of the epicenter of the East Bay. But for the first 10 years of my DJ career, the only city I DJ'd in was San Francisco. So I gotta give it to San Francisco.
Okay. All right. All right, man. 415-510. Okay. Hey, Brycon, your first job, what was it?
Before I had a paid job, I volunteered at an aquarium. But my first job, I mean, it almost had to be a terrible restaurant job, right? I think I was the dish dog at a restaurant called what was that place called? I can't remember, but I was a dish dog.
There you go, man.
Some rural restaurant in the middle of nowhere, Virginia.
Okay. All right, Maitre D, your first job.
Oh my God. I worked a summer before my freshman year of high school on a little airstrip washing airplanes for $5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was a chauffeur for a little aviation company that my pops had done some computer work for, and they gave me the shittiest job I ever did for the lowest that I paid for anything. And I was washing airplanes, and then at one point they threw me in a full like respirator and goggles and like a full coveralls, and they had me doing soda blasting, which is like sandblasting with baking soda to like remove paint from an old airplane they were restoring. It was in like 100-degree weather. It was it was terrible.
It's the type of toxic job only a child should do.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Hey, okay. Hey, Brycon, for you, how do you like your eggs cooked and why?
Oh wow. My homie was schooling me one morning, and he was like, my wife is French, so if I don't like scramble these eggs real perfectly and get a lot of air, like, huh, what? And then ever since then, I've been like scrambling eggs with that little bit of, angular whip to get some air in there. And then when they hit the pan, you got to do it again. Foo, foo. Now, I can make breakfast like almost damn near every way, but I definitely think like even though I can make a respectable omelet, I can poach an egg pretty nice. I like a over easy. The only thing I could really tell you I've put some like craft work into is that it's the same thing Lil B and James Harden are doing.
You got it down to a science. Maitre D, what about you? How you like your eggs cooked and why?
Let it let a DJ scramble your eggs.
My lady's Filipina, and
Uh-huh.
we, I, we got together through the like right before the pandemic, and I really honed my cooking a bit through the last couple of years because during the pandemic, obviously, it was just like, hey, we're not going out, so I might as well cook. Really got my fried rice game down, so
Nice.
scrambled into the fried rice, and then hard fried egg, like with still a runny yolk on the top.
Whew,
So,
man, that sounds good right about now. All
It's
right,
kind
Maitre
of
D.
scheduled to for like right before this breakfast. You're really trying to get recipe ideas off us. It's messed up.
Oh man. All right, Maitre D. For you, if you could have a meal with anybody, past or present, dead or alive, who would it be?
wow. Oh man. Um, that's past or present. God, that's a hard one, but
Yeah,
like
sure.
popped in my head was the great Anthony Bourdain.
Oh man, that's a good one. That's a
Uh,
good one.
I know I'd be eating some bomb ass food, and he would just
Fill
be
us up on life.
his gritty self.
Yeah. No, a good answer. All right, final question for you guys before I turn over to you. Maynard D, your favorite cereal and why?
Oh man. Well, I don't really eat
Yeah,
cereal
same.
anymore. But when I did, I think it was Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh man,
It was because
that's some good sugar, man. That was good shit.
I was raised not being able, wasn't allowed to have like the sugar cereals, quote unquote. So,
Yeah.
when I reached early adulthood and could buy my own cereals, it was fun. My
Early adulthood only.
favorite was milk.
Yeah, that's a good one. Brycon, what about you? When you did eat cereal, what was the one?
I like this cereal called Peanut Butter Bumpers. I
Oh,
don't know,
never.
I don't know if you
Oh,
where
oh,
it's like health food store cereal, but it's still pretty
okay.
sugar. I'm like any kind of peanut butter treat. I,
Yeah.
I'm crazy for stuff like that. Peanut butter bumpers though, they're better than like they have a competitor. It's kind of got a similar profile that's got is more out there. I can't think of the name right now. Not the same. They're kind of Captain Crunchy, cut the roof of your mouth. Peanut butter bumpers are like they stay crispy. They know they know how to act. That's all I want.
All right. Well, hey, gentlemen, it was a pleasure speaking with you guys. Amazing project. I look forward to getting my hard copy and there's just nothing for me, at least, that beats listening to the physical product in a boom box. And so, great album from start to finish, 15 tracks, Cymande and André 3000 to make Cymandre 3000. With that, hey, any final words? Brycon, Mater D, I turn it over to you guys to close the session out. I look forward to getting it out.
Hey man, I want to thank you for having us, man.
Yeah,
Thank you too for
all day.
putting me on this record and Andre, Cymande, we appreciate y'all not having figured out what's going on just yet, and don't send your illegal beagles after us. You can have all the money or whatever. We don't care. It's all good.
At least after we recoup.
Yeah. All right, Mater D, over to you.
Yeah, well, echo what Brycon said. Thank
Yeah.
you on it's just the love that we've been able to receive for this project has really been great, and I'm really thankful for your service and everyone else who has supported this project. It has made it's now number 4 on the most number of plays I have on any of the 30 plus projects I have on my Bandcamp.
Wow. Awesome.
And will probably by the end of the month be number 1. So just really floored with the response to this project, and also just want to thank Brycon for bringing this idea to me,
Yeah.
and the honor to work with him on this and to develop this into what it is. I'm just just really proud of this whole thing. So thank you.
Excellent. Well, fellas, hey, you guys enjoy your long weekend, and you guys are welcome back anytime. Brycon second, Maitre D. Happy to talk to you about any of your solo projects, but yeah, enjoy. I'll keep in touch. Thank you, guys.
Hey, thank you, man.
Yep.
Appreciate it.